House designs are continuously changing as a result of the availability of new materials, the development of new technology, and evolving tastes. While most of us live in buildings that are at least a few decades old or may have moved into a new modern design, there are some that are paving the way by creating structures that look way ahead of their time. From the overall aesthetic to creative ways of saving energy and the incorporation of unbelievable features, there are plenty of new and exciting innovations that will be commonplace in the coming decades. So, to get a sneak peek at what to expect, it's time to take a look at the top 15 most futuristic homes. Number 15. Capitol Hill Residence. Hidden within the Barvika Forest near Moscow in Russia is a huge, unbelievable property that's known as the Capitol Hill Residence. Designed by architect Zaha Hadid, it almost looks like a spaceship that landed in the ground. It uses a range of modern design techniques to give a unique vantage point of the surrounding scenery. There are 3 floors dug into the earth where you'll find the leisure facilities, while on the 4th floor, which is on ground level, is where the kitchen, lounge, living room, pool, and entertainment spaces are. On the 1st floor is the entrance, the children's bedrooms, and the guest bedrooms, but it's what lies above these that stand out the most. On top of the 72-foot or 22-meter tall slender concrete stalk is the master suite, which has been designed like this to sit in line with the tree canopy. There's a glass lift and a staircase to reach this level, and from it, in the morning, all you can see is blue sky above a green leafy base. The owner described the experience he wanted to the designer and says that the finished result exceeded his expectation. It's a great example of how modern design can be incorporated into natural spaces to create bespoke homes to the exact requirements of the people that live in them. Number 14. The Star House, Marbella, Spain. The Star House is a new luxury villa in Spain that uses organic architecture and is built within a hill to reduce its footprint and, in theory, work in tandem with the surrounding landscape. Located just 15 minutes from the city center and set within a private gated communities with views out across the Mediterranean, it offers peace and seclusion, while at the same time offering futuristic features that keep residents connected with the outside world. Offering 5,300 square feet or about 500 square meters of interior space and sat on a 32,000 square foot or 3,000 square meter plot of land, the white building has 4 main bedrooms and 4 bathrooms. The south-facing design ensures that it gets as much light as possible, and each level ends with an infinity terrace to create unique alfresco outdoor spaces. The swimming pool leads out into the land and uses the contours of the hill to change depths. And while this house is full of features and technology, it's also been designed to be as energy efficient as possible. Being built into a hill means that it's particularly effective at retaining heat, and a nearby solar panel farm provides the vast majority of its energy requirements. Number 13. Sky Porch, Singapore. If you've ever been to Singapore, you'll be more than aware of how busy and crowded the city can feel, which often presents problems to anyone who lives near the center. Traffic can be particularly bad, and it's rare you'll ever find a space to park your car, so a new residential tower has shown how this can be overcome with the designs of the future. Known as Hamilton Scott's, the 56-unit block is just a short walk from the famous Orchard Road district and faces towards a rare plot of parkland in the city. Each of the apartments has 2 parking spaces of their own, but rather than being in an underground parking garage, these are actually located next to the apartments themselves. All owners have to do is to drive into the entrance and park their car on the rotating platform on the special elevator. They then key in their apartment number like you would on any other elevator, and the machinery does the rest. The driver and their car are then lifted up and turned around before being placed right in their sky garage, which leads directly into their apartment. Not only does it mean that you have a quick and easy access to your car, but it also enables you to have it in pride and place it on display in your home. And if you're able to afford one of these apartments in the first place, chances are you'll also have a vehicle that's worth showing off. Number 12. The Ecocapsule. Not all futuristic homes are ones that contain next-level technology, because to properly look after our planet, it's becoming more and more important to ever minimize energy consumption and significantly reduce the damage to our surroundings. This was the idea behind the design of the Ecocapsule, which is a portable home created by a Slovakian company called Nice Architects. At a weight of just 4,000 pounds, the egg-shaped structure is 15 feet long, 7.2 feet wide, and about 8.2 feet tall, and offers about 88 square feet of interior space. The egg shape was specifically chosen because it reduces the surface area to volume ratio, and by constructing the walls with 2 layers of fiberglass with polyurethane foam insulation between them, it's very efficient at retaining heat. Power to the capsule is provided by both a 750-watt wind turbine and an 880-watt solar cell array. And incredibly, it's been designed so that it actually generates more power than it uses. The inbuilt battery stores this excess charge as a backup just in case the weather conditions reduce power production, and any that's produced beyond the battery's capacity is used to heat water. The Ecocapsule collects rainwater in a reservoir where it's cleaned by UV lamps and filters, and a central computer keeps track of everything that's happening and can be controlled by a smartphone app. The company claims that all of this means the occupants can live off-grid and be self-sufficient for weeks, months, or even years on end. And that process they've developed can be applied to most new homes that are being built to reduce their environmental impact. Number 11. The Heliotrope Freiburg. The incredible-looking Heliotrope is a house that was built in Freiburg, Germany in 1994. There are actually 3 of them in the country now, but the original is the biggest and was created by the architect himself to live in. It became renowned around the world for being the first house ever built that captures more energy than it uses, and all the power that's consumed is renewable, produces 0 emissions, and is CO2 neutral. There is, of course, a huge amount of technology to make this possible. The Heliotrope has solar arrays, a geothermal heat exchanger, a combined heat and power unit, and solar thermal balcony railings that are used to heat water. And to make it as efficient as possible, the entire structure rotates. During the cooler months, it faces the sun, which allows as much heat as possible to enter the home without needing to warm it by other means. While during the warmer months, its highly insulated back wall faces the sun, which prevents too much heat from entering and keeps the home feeling cool. The solar panels, however, rotate independently of the house, so they're always facing the sun to maximize power generation. It's easy to look at the Heliotrope as an extreme example of energy-efficient building, but it's likely that all the homes of the future will take some inspiration from it, because the more they do, the less impact we'll be having on the environment. Number 10. Allegra Mykonos. Villa Allegra, to the northwest of the island of Mykonos in Greece, is a stunning, futuristic home that's been built on the side of, and is actually mostly inside of a hill. This location was initially chosen because it offers shelter from the wind and offers unparalleled views across the Aegean Sea and nearby Delos Island. The property itself is on a 43,000 square foot plot of land and has about 3,700 square feet of internal space. There are 7 main bedrooms, 2 swimming pools, a huge wine cellar, various lounge areas, and a jacuzzi, sauna, gym, a spa room, and a barbecue area. The geothermal architecture uses mainly concrete and glass, and this gives a modern, futuristic feel, as well as holding in the heat in a way that makes the home more energy efficient. Number 9. Xanadu 2.0. As the co-founder of the world's most influential technology company, Bill Gates was for a long time the richest person in the world, and it's no surprise that he built one of the most futuristic homes ever devised. Known as Xanadu 2.0, named after the mansion in Citizen Kane, it's located on a huge plot next to Lake Washington in Medina, Washington. Taking 7 years to complete, 500 Douglas fir trees were needed to provide the wood used in the home's construction. And while it cost $65 million, it's now believed to be worth at least double that. Sensors and technology are installed throughout, meaning that each guest's preferences, such as music, lighting, and temperature, follow them through the house wherever they go. At 66,000 square feet, there was a real concern of how the structure would impact the water runoff. And to overcome this, an artificial stream was dug across the land, which is now filled with salmon and trout. No expense or care has been spared, and even the glorious maple tree near the entrance driveway had monitors attached to it, which linked to sprinklers so it's automatically watered if it becomes too dry. Amazingly, the property has not 1, but 6 full kitchens, so there's always one nearby to where events are happening. There are 7 bedrooms in the main house, along with a dedicated guest house, and one of the most amazing rooms is the private library, which contains a book collection thought to be well worth in excess of $100 million. The pool is so large that it has an indoor and outdoor section, and to really make the home stand out, it has its very own dedicated trampoline room. Furthermore, there's a beach that's made up of imported Caribbean sand, a garage with room for 23 cars, a huge home movie theater, and a 200-person capacity reception hall. Even though most of this was completed in the 1990s, the tech that's used throughout is still far beyond what most other people could dream of, making this a truly futuristic place to live. Number 8. Wave House, Finland. Originally designed to be built in Moscow, but after those plans failed, finally constructed in Mikkeli, Finland. The Wave House is described by the architects behind it as a log house with a twist. Built using environmentally friendly sourced pine wood, the single-level structure offers an open living plan area that looks out across a lake and a cantilevered terrace, and 4 bedrooms with equally as stunning views as one another. In many ways, the features of the house are back to basics, with just a few further rooms, one of which is a sauna. And this has been done on purpose to attract owners who want to be at one with nature. The overall design of the home was challenging, with using wood as the main material, and required modern techniques to achieve the curves and overall flow. The large glass windows allow every beam of light to pour in and illuminate the interior, while at the same time the insulation traps the heat and creates a comfortable temperature throughout the house at all times during the year. Despite having the main focus as being an architectural wonder, this is also an extremely efficient home, which, because of some of the clever additions, consumes less than half of the energy of other similar-sized properties. Number 7. Pangyo House. Found around a 30-minute drive from Seoul in South Korea, the 2-story Pangyo House was built in 2013 and designed by Office 53427, a renowned Korean architectural company. With a curved white exterior that's punctuated by square perforations, there's no doubt that this is a futuristic home from the moment you see it, but at the same time it fits well in with the surrounding buildings on the development. All of the walls are actually built with brick, but are covered with Hymax acrylic stone panels to give the texture and curved edges. Floors and stairs throughout were made from sustainably sourced wood, and the entire structure encircles a small garden at the center. What's impressive about this home is that it was built as part of a much wider project, with the creator specifically trying to find a way to make each home unique rather than everything looking monotonous and identical, which is the problem faced by most large-scale developments around the world. This particular home is intended for a family of 4, but the principles developed in its creation can be expanded or contracted for any number of people, and could well be a style that becomes even more common in the coming years. Number 6. Moebius House, Sydney. Sydney Harbour is one of the most sought-after locations and views in the Australian city, so anytime someone builds a new home there, it had better be an impressive project. When faced with developing a new design for a family in 2010, Australian architects Tony Owen Partners created an incredible futuristic design, which has become known as the Moebius House. With views across the Sydney Opera House and Harbour Bridge, it's made of a steel frame that's covered in metal panels. Cleverly, one of the walls loops over the roof and over the other side, which creates an extra terrace on the first floor, and gives the house the unusual look that inspired its name. According to the architects, it was based upon the principle of micro-design, which is a design technique that uses powerful software to predict the implications of minute changes. The result was a house that has maximized ventilation, the views, privacy, and energy requirements, and has significantly improved its environmental credentials. Because of the complex form of the structure, however, the construction company had to develop new techniques to make it possible. The project manager once said that it was much more similar to building a car than a house, whereby the main structure, or chassis, was made first before the external shell was added. Number 5. The Staab Residence, Sonoran Desert. With evolving construction techniques and the ability to envisage what a completed structure will be like much better than it's ever been possible before, there's a new range of elements that houses of the future will be able to incorporate before the first brick has even been placed. These include increased privacy, the ability to fully take in spectacular surrounding views, and of course, energy efficiency. And that's exactly what the Staab family of Scottsdale, Arizona were able to achieve with their new home. Designed by the Chen and Suchart Studio, the home is clad in stainless steel and coated glass, which almost makes the top floor appear as if it's floating above the lower level. By using concrete blocks for the walls, gaps have been left open that allow for airflow and light to beam through while retaining privacy. And the reflective nature of the glass means that it almost tricks the eye into missing the fact that there's a building there at all. According to the company behind the creation, it's about collecting the beauty and power of the landscape and absorbing it as part of the material palette, and it's hard to argue they've done anything but that. Number 4. The Zero House. It's quite likely, rather than being built from scratch on-site, the home of the future will be prefabricated in a factory and simply installed where they're needed. And as proof of how this concept will work, the Zero House was created. The compact design can easily be transported and built within a matter of days, and has a full kitchen, a bath, bedrooms, a large living room, and even 2 balconies. What's particularly impressive about this design, however, is that it doesn't need to be plugged into any external supplies, because it's able to operate independently. It can generate its own power, collects rainwater for use, and even processes all of its own waste. Meaning this isn't a home limited to use near pre-existing communities, but one that can be installed virtually anywhere. As well as being designed as a home, the company behind it hopes that it will also have uses for remote employment, ecotourism, emergency services, and plenty more, potentially changing how permanent structures are forever. Number 3. Earthship Homes, New Mexico. Despite being built in the 1970s, the Earthship homes in New Mexico could well be some of the most future-facing structures ever conceived. It's expected that resources are going to be increasingly difficult to source in the coming years, and that our use of fossil fuels will need to be drastically reduced, and the design of these homes already incorporates those ideals. Built by architect Michael Reynolds, the homes, versions of which have since been built around the world, are based on the principle that there are 6 human needs that can be provided through designing homes in an environmentally friendly way, which are energy, waste management, sewage treatment, shelter, clean water, and food. They are off the grid, so don't exert further pressures on publicly provided networks, and use techniques such as building them to face the sun so the front atrium is heated up, and the thermal mass of the walls around the house retain this warmth to regulate the temperature. Earthships collect all the water they need, incorporate a natural convection-based ventilation system, and incorporate newer technologies wherever possible. Recent estimates suggest that if you include the land they're built on, a fully functioning Earthship costs around $500,000 to build. And while that may sound expensive, you'll never have to pay a utility bill again. And as more people adopt the idea, the cheaper they'll become. Number 2. Mars Case Prototype. Designers aren't just focusing on future home designs that will be built on this planet, but with increasing hopes that humans may one day live in colonies on the Moon or Mars, structures have already been built that could support us on alien worlds. One, known as the Mars Case Prototype, was created by Open Architecture in China in collaboration with an electronics company. When living so far away from Earth, natural resources won't be in anywhere near as plentiful a supply, so lifestyles will have to change to accommodate this. This small house therefore emphasizes recycling as much as possible and produces minimal waste in the first place, meaning every nutrient and material is used to its fullest. Cleverly, all the electrical devices are mounted into the same unit, which means they harness and recycle the heat, exhaust, and condensation that they produce and feed it all back into itself. This means, for example, the excess heat being generated by the oven can also be used to warm water needed for washing, making the Mars Case Prototype a building where energy self-circulates and there's zero waste. Number 1. Chateau 5, Colorado. If environmental impact isn't top of your list when choosing a home, then you could go to the complete opposite direction and design something that's all about comfort, enjoyment, and the overall experience. Chateau 5 in Evergreen, Colorado was completed in 2015, and despite being designed in a way that's intended to look like it's a centuries-old castle, it's underpinned by the latest technology. At a cost of around $17.5 million, it has 126 chandeliers, a great room with 25 feet or just over an 8-meter high ceiling, 4 large fireplaces, a wine cellar, a library, bubble balconies, and simply incredible views out across the nearby Mount Evans. There's also a doggy spa, a movie theater, an indoor-outdoor swimming pool, and a huge amount of indoor space that hasn't been developed yet. Also known as the Maximum Security Mansion, however, the residents of Chateau 5 have managed to be very private and secluded from the outside world. The dedicated security office is used to monitor cameras from all over the property, and they're even alerted if vehicles are approaching along the public highway. With systems in every room that scan anyone that enters and changes the environment to their preference, and a personal assistant that can be used to communicate with the kitchen, the security office, or other guests in the home, Chateau 5 may look like a classic building from the outside, but it's undoubtedly one of the smartest homes you'll find anywhere in the world. Watch our future playlist for more top 15 videos about the future. Sit back, relax, and binge watch all of our best future-related videos.